Oh, hello, friend. Come, join us by the fire. The story's about to begin.
Welcome back, everyone, to Fireside Dice. It's not only been a minute since we've last played, or since we last put out a video, but it's also been a long while, it feels like, since we had the full party together. We've actually got all three players here today.
Woohoo!
In the last few times, we have had the B team meet up with Striffen Mauer, the Lord of the Outland Valleys. We've also had some big revelations about Suri, her patron, and some stuff going on back in Ravnica. However, I think that will be a little bit better suited to have the characters talk about rather than just have me spoil everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's get into tonight's session. So, back to Innistrad. Bartholomew, Bafuur, the two of you have traveled throughout the day, and you find yourself in the town of Shadowgrange. You went to the local priest, had an interesting encounter there.
Discovered some things we may need to check into at some point.
Maybe. And since then, you have been making your way to the local inn, the Blood of the Vine. And, sir, you've also had some interesting travels. You met Jace Bellerin, you met with Erasmus Kane, and befriended the Bitterheart witches, in particular Annabelle, who a little bit of spunk to her and took you back to her encampment, and they pointed out that there were some interesting new people to the valley in the town of Shadowgrange. So you are making your way into town as the other two of your party are making their way into the tavern. So, Bartholomew, Bafuur, you have a couple of minutes to sit down and have a little bit of a discussion before Suri walks in. Anything you guys would like to say?
So I imagine we've probably gotten at least a drink, maybe some food, and we're sitting there. And I picture Bartholomew sitting, looking around at everyone else in the tavern, and is like, he's quickly tapping his foot incessantly, like very obviously worried. It's like, where is Suri? I feel like we would have seen her by now. I'm starting to get really worried.
Alper's definitely still angry at that priest and whatever situation was happening behind the doors.
Just sitting there fuming. Called me
Probably silently fuming while at the same time checking out all the patrons of the inn,
Okay.
all kind of on guard.
So you're sizing people up, is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
So you can see there's not a ton of people who are in here. However, there are a couple of other patrons. First that you notice are there's a trio of not unkempt, but you can tell that they're road weary people that are sitting not in the corner, but they're sitting a little bit closer to the front door. If they needed to get out, they could. And the other person who is in here is the barkeep, and he has been not frantic, but definitely furtive. You seem to be from out of town, and that's either really, really good or really, really bad. And because you don't have the obvious look of I'm a priest, he's assuming the worst. But he's being hospitable as much as he can. You've got your drinks, he's getting some food ready. And what sort of conversation is going on for you?
Where do you think Suri could have ended up?
I don't know. I want to say it seemed like she was coming pretty close. It didn't seem like she deviated too far from you when we were traveling here. But planeswalking, and I get kind of hushed, it's not really an exact science that I've been able to figure out. And so there's a number of things that possibly could have gone wrong.
Do we have any way of locating her if she can't find us?
Nothing that I know of. I know of wizards and people that I've met that have the ability to reach out magically to people over a great distance, but that's not something I've figured out how to do.
Now, at the mention of magic, Balfour's just kind of like, his eyes have kind of left parts and just absent-mindedly thinking, expression of just deep thought on his face.
Going back to that time in the forest.
Mm-hmm. Not quite understanding exactly what happened when he went to save the priest who was on death's door.
And the rumination becomes far more quiet, far more subdued as the two of you just sit there. And at some point, the door opens. There's the audible as the door opens, comes back to close. And Suri, you can see sitting there at the bar of this place are your two friends.
As soon as the door opens, Bartholomew's going to look over to see who the newcomer is, and seeing Suri, he's going to jump out of his stool and rush over and give her a big hug. Like, oh my gosh, where were you?
Bart kind of runs, or not Bart, Balfour runs over and just kind of like scoops underneath both of their legs and just kind of lifts both of them up into a big kind of like over the head shake / hug.
Suri's like super pale and just so shocked when she comes in that all of this is happening. Not that she doesn't enjoy it, but she's just kind of overwhelmed and doesn't know how to react to all this love all at once after her long journey.
Once I let go of her hug, I'm going to look her over and be like, are you hurt? Are you okay? What happened? And does she visibly look like she's okay? Is there anything that's very clearly wrong?
She looks pale and shaken. I'll say that. Very nervous.
And as to whether that's just exertion from the road or something else, you're not entirely certain.
Here, come sit down. I've got some food here. It looks like you should probably eat something. I'm going to guide her over to a table and bring our food over to sit down with her.
Yes, thank you, Bartholomew. It's so good to see you, and you too as well, Bafuur.
I wasn't sure you'd make it back to us.
I wasn't sure you guys were gonna make it out of that planeswalk alive either.
Balfour's gonna check before, as Bart is escorting Suri over to the table. He's just gonna glance at the door where Suri walked in and just kind of do a once over of the pathways leading to the inn, just to see if anything's going on outside.
So sticking your head out, you look down both sets of the road, look up towards the church again, and just shake your head. Nothing else seems to be coming in.
Okay. Satisfied, I'll go join Suri and Bart at the table again.
So, what happened? Where did you end up?
I landed not too far from here. Near a lake of some sort. I met. It's all just a lot. A lot happened.
Well, here, take your time. Eat some food if you need. We've got plenty of time.
Yeah, what happened to you? You don't look great.
Suri just thinks back to what happened with Jason Erasmus at that at that time, and she just looks back to the table and she's like, I met a couple of people. They seemed nice enough. One of them said their name was Jace.
Did he give his full name?
I don't actually remember.
I believe that he did. And the other question that I have for you, Suri, is have you revealed the nature of your magic yet? Have you shared that you are a warlock?
I have not.
The other two.
We know that she has magic, but the source of it is still unknown to us.
I've shown
that's
him
what I was
that
thinking.
I pull my spells out of a book in front of him, so that's kind of a little bit of hinting, I guess, but that's more of a wizard thing, I would say.
Visually, she would just look like a very odd wizard, I think.
Balfour has no clue. Knows nothing about magic.
I met a very friendly coven of witches, the Blackheart witches.
Bitter hearts.
Whoops. I have it written down wrong. Okay, let me just fix that. The Bitter Heart witches. And they said they can be of assistance to us whenever we need.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing to have witches on your side?
All these, well, certain witches could be arguably terrible, but these ones are great.
Good.
Even
I'll
though
take your word for it.
their hearts may be bitter, but they're actually very sweet.
Well, it's good to hear you've been making friends at least. You weren't hurt. You seem pretty spooked for have just met a couple of nice people. Like, are you sure there's nothing
Especially
else
in your
going
home.
on?
Suri looks around the bar and sees if anyone's really paying attention to them.
Sir, you would know that the trio sitting towards the front door are bitter heart witches. Part of the same coven, but not the same central community that you were with. So this is probably just a couple of scouts from, you would guess, Madame Ava's company.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are they clearly paying attention to us, or are they minding their own business?
They appear to be minding their own business, but there's a certain level of attentiveness.
Suri says, I need to tell you guys something, but I need to, it can't be heard by anyone else at all.
Okay. I'm gonna turn and go up back to the barkeep and be like, "Excuse me, sir. Do you happen to have any rooms for rent?"
Yes, actually, that I do.
Okay. We'd be very interested in two.
Oh, 2 rooms?
Two rooms.
I absolutely, I can. Do you want them right now or later?
Yeah, that we can take them right now. That'd be
Excellent.
agreeable.
The payment will be 1.5 gold. 1 gold, 5 silver.
I'll pitch in a gold.
And I'll toss him a gold too. And I'll say,
Oh,
That brings me down to 1 whole gold piece in my inventory.
and the barkeep, as he hands you the keys to the rooms, it basically says, I do so very much apologize if there are any untoward noises that you hear. There have been, let's say, incursions into the town.
"Oh,
Incursions of what?
Rabbit wolves. I have so far been able to keep them out of this establishment. They mainly go to the burgomaster's house.
we will certainly be wary of that. Thank you for the warning."
It is my duty and my pleasure as a host.
Well, thank you. You're a remarkable host at that. And I'll turn. Suri, if you want to bring any of that food with us, go ahead, and we'll start leading the way up to our rooms.
Suri looks over and just asks, could we get a round of just water to bring up to our room?
I can absolutely do that. Would you like a full pitcher or just some glasses?
A pitcher and some glasses would be perfect. Thank you so much. And she'll leave a gold on the counter as well.
This guy better start liking us real quick.
It seems as though he already has.
Once we get up to the rooms, Bartholomew's going to hand one of the keys to Suri and say, "One of the rooms is for you, Suri. Me and Bafuur will crash in one together."
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
We can go into the guy's room and close the door so Suri can tell us what's going on.
While we're heading up there, does it seem like anybody is following us, or if we're talking in the room, if anyone's going to be able to hear us?
I want you to roll perception check.
Absolutely. Ooh, that's a good first roll. 19 plus 4 for 23.
23. So as you're heading up to the room, there doesn't seem to be any untoward motion towards you. And going up, you're fairly confident that no one's going to be snooping.
All right, Suri. What is it you have to tell us?
Right. So Suri's still nervously looking around and says, Nassius was murdered.
What?
Not only was Nassius murdered, all 3 of us, are wanted for the murder of Nassius.
Wait. How do you know? What?
Do you remember the note that was left that night when we had Krinko?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was an elf who left that note for us, and he followed me, and he warned me that we're wanted for the murder of Nasius, and
So, someone from the Demir who left us a note is also a planeswalker and followed us here?
yes, that from what I could discern, that's what happened. But he didn't kill me or try to catch me or anything. But he knew I was looking for you two, and he knew who you guys were as well.
That's... Oh, man. That's... Oh.
How long after Krenko ran away did you get this information?
I just got this information while I was walking, just before I came here. Honestly,
I bet you Krenko did it. Nasius is the one that gave us the job in the first place.
I don't remember. Did we ever mention Nasius around Krenko when he was awake?
No,
I don't
we
think so.
mentioned-
You just said the Guild Pact and the Azorius.
That's certainly possible. That's really
he's a
not
goblin.
ideal.
the elf told me there's someone named Vincenzo Sirac who can help us, and he gave me his address.
Someone on Ravnica?
I believe so.
Vincenzo what?
Vincenzo Sirac.
Serach.
How is he supposed to be helping us?
The person following me wasn't very specific. I'm not even entirely sure he's on our side.
Bartholomew is gonna just sit down on a bed, and he's very clearly gonna be like thinking, trying to run through his head what possibly could have gone on. What could we do? Should we go back? Should we stay here? Do we go somewhere else? And he's very quiet, trying to absorb all of this new information.
Okay. So Bartholomew, you're running through all the options.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other two of you doing? Bafuur, this is new information.
Alfred is confused and conflicted, really. He's not sure. He's never been accused of murder, especially not one that he hasn't committed. And while at the same time, it's the guild, and he doesn't really care for them. So he doesn't really care too much, but now he knows that the place where he met his friends is going to be hard to go back to. I don't know. He's just very conflicted about all this information.
Suri's sitting on the bed and she's just thinking, and then eventually she says, realistically, I only see a couple of options. We can either prove our innocence and find who actually murdered Nasius, or we can just keep running, which neither of them seem like great options.
Now, this Vincenzo, is he on Innistrad?
I believe he's on Ravnica again. And going back there is not in our best interest.
So Vincenzo, you were told, is in the first precinct, which is kind of like mainly Orsov territory. And while there are Azorius places everywhere, basically police stations everywhere, you might be able to get to Vincenzo's residence before they capture you.
He's located in the first precinct.
Do you think it's worth it to try to go back and clear our names now? Do we have any other business to conduct on Innistrad? I mean, the only reason we came here was to escape them in the first place. And it really hasn't been that long.
If we were to want to try and clear our names, now would be the only time we could go. The longer we stay away, the more incriminating it looks, and the more guilty we seem. I'm sure.
And in the Azorius, those appearances mean just as much, if not more, than the actual evidence.
I'm sure it doesn't help our case that we already disappeared so quickly after this probably happened.
If we were to go back, a safe way we could do it is I could make us all invisible and we could maybe sneak through the first precinct. But planeswalking back to Ravnica, wouldn't we all get separated again? That also seems very risky.
It's definitely a potential that could happen.
So the way that planeswalking would work in that way, if you have like a specific destination in mind, it's a little more likely that you end up closer to that destination. So say if you all wanted to go back to the Hall of the Guild Pact, that same place where you first got the job, then you'd likely be closer to there than just randomly in the 10th district. So theoretically, you could planeswalk to Ravnica, say we're all going to meet up at this specific location, get there as fast as you can and hide, and then go.
Where should we meet up then?
Well, that's if you're going back.
We could meet up with your friend who lives under the bridge. I'm sure that's more of the industrial part of town. It seems a little bit safer, and I don't think he would turn us in.
Yeah, Moorbox. He's. I wouldn't necessarily call him a friend more than I would an acquaintance. A necessary one at sometimes. Just, I mean, he's a troll, so do with that what you will.
There's
We could
also
definitely be by his bridge, but if you're there without me, there's also a more than likely chance that you won't be there when I get there. If Morbach has his way.
we also have my apartment that we've all been to. There's the stressed swindler, the guild pact, the burned down warehouse.
How far is the stressed swindler from District 1?
The Hall of the Guild Pact, the Stress Swindler, or Bartholomew's apartment would be the best options in terms of going and meeting there and then being able to use preferably a single invisibility spell to get to where you need to go. If you go much further than that, then you're going to start running into excess traffic, excess travel time, that sort of thing.
I think if we chose to go back, the stress swindler would probably be the best option because Bart, your house is going to be washed.
That's true.
We just disappeared from there. They're going to be expecting us to come back out at some point.
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
And I don't really feel comfortable going straight for the people who are accusing us in the first place at the hall.
True.
I mean, if y'all want to do it, we can do it. I mean, we can.
Just pop right in there.
We might have to start swinging, but yeah, we could do that.
We plead not guilty.
Axe to the face. Yeah, I don't like the idea of going straight to them either. Knowing what I do about the Azorius, they've probably already made up their minds. We're going to need some sort of evidence or proof that we weren't wherever this murder took place. I find it curious that in the short amount of time between us hearing from Mike is the one that reached out to us saying that Nassius wanted to talk to us. I didn't hear Nassius. We don't know when he died. He could have been dead before then, and the Orzhov could be involved.
How likely is it for them to get involved in something like this?
It depends on how much profit there is to be made.
And considering what Krenko knew, it's up in the air.
I don't think the Demir would have been the ones to kill him if it was a Demir agent who warned us. But then again, from what I've heard, the Demir plots on plots on plots, so maybe this is all an elaborate ruse to get us back. I'm not even sure if we can trust this Demir informant's word either.
Suri, is that person still here in the town?
No, he planeswalked away.
Okay.
This is a very tricky situation. I don't know.
Why don't we sleep on it? Get some rest. Come at it tomorrow. Then we'll decide whether or not we want to go back to Ravnica or not. We can't even planeswalk today, I don't think. We haven't had a long rest yet.
Yeah, something like that is pretty draining. I don't think I've got it in me to do it again for a while anyway. So that's a very valid point. About what time of day is it? It's getting towards...
At this point, it is getting to be, it's just past dusk. It is full nightfall. It has been a full rich day for all of you.
Yes, there's lots gone on.
By chance, do we hear any of those wolves that the innkeeper was talking about outside?
You heard a couple of howls, but nothing seems like it has come right up to the inn itself.
Man,
All right, then.
That bombshell makes what we dealt with seem like child's play.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, where are my manners? I haven't even asked you guys of your trials and adventures.
To be honest, compared to what you just told us, like, we didn't... Okay, so as soon as we got here, we came in contact with a priest of the Church of Avacyn who was under some sort of mind effect from something. I'm not entirely sure what. He attacked us, we incapacitated him, and then Bafuur here apparently has some abilities that are new to him. We helped the man. On our way here to try and find him help, we ran into one Streffen Mauer of Mauer Estate and somehow got out of that alive.
Now, really quick, Suri, that name, Streffen Mauer, it rings a bell for you.
Yeah, I don't know exactly who it is, but I know of him, right?
Yeah, he was someone that your old friend was very interested in.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, Alex, one of your old friends growing up, he came actually out here to the Outland Valleys to try and find Streffen Mauer.
Yeah, we ran into Streffen Mauer, and once we got into town, we took the priest that we had attacked, or that attacked us. We took him to the church, got him some help, heard a scream. We're a bit worried about that. It seemed like someone was in pain. But we were kicked out of the church and came here and waited for you.
You ran into Streffen Mauer?
Yeah, he found us on our way here.
I'm shocked you guys are still alive.
My ego's a little bruised, though. He was kind of a jerk.
Yeah,
he called me short.
And you said Bafuur might have powers?
Yeah, the priest that attacked. Here, what am I doing? You go ahead and explain, Bafuur.
Honestly, I don't know what to explain. I didn't do anything. I mean, I just felt bad that the guy was dying because it wasn't his fault and that he was going crazy and that we had to, fight him. But I don't know. I just touched him and he stopped dying, I guess. He just kind of, I don't know, he started breathing again. He was fine. I don't really know how to explain it. There was some light from the hand, some like green energy or something, but
that's very interesting indeed.
Never done anything like that before.
You've known nothing of magic before? Never?
I mean, my mom was really good friends with the druids back home, and I would spend some time with them quite often out in the woods and stuff, but never, they never really taught me anything about what they did. Just, I've seen them do stuff like that before with like some green and white energy kind of light flashes, things like that, but I've never thought about it really. My mom would always talk about stuff like that though, growing up.
Suri thinks about this and she says, "This is quite different from how I use my magic powers. I need to use a book. Like, that's where all my magic comes from."
I need you to roll a deception check for that.
Uh-oh.
And the other two of you, if you would like to roll insight against this, you may. Otherwise, just use your passive.
Yeah, I don't think Bartholomew doesn't have any reason to distrust her, so I'm going to go with my passive, which you are hard pressed to beat, by the way.
I got a 6.
Yeah, you say I just need the book as you pull out the dagger and just are almost fingering it the dagger on your lap.
Yeah, I just need the book. Wait, nope, not that one.
It's almost unconscious. Like you reach into your bag and you pull out the dagger instead and look down, and there's a look of absolute shock as your patron is getting a little bit out of hand, isn't he?
Yeah.
This dagger, what does it look like? Is there anything? Does it look like just a normal dagger, or would that be something Bartholomew sees and is like, wait a minute?
Let me actually go to that picture.
Yeah, I don't think either of them have actually seen it.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that looks not normal.
Does Suri catch herself holding this dagger, or is she kind of still?
No, you go in, you say, I just need my book, and you go down, you try and grab for your book, and you just pull out the dagger, and you set it down on your lap and slowly start stroking along where those eyes are.
For the listeners, this dagger, the picture that we were just shown. It's like a gold dagger. The hilt has like these ridges so that like someone's fingers could very neatly fit around the blade. And then the blade itself is gold with like inscriptions of like eyes or something. Very jagged looking. Are those
If you would
runes?
like to look at the art for it, I would say look up in Magic the Gathering's art library for Elbrus the Binding Blade. Name dropped frequently during one of the Suri side art episodes, and seemingly part of her pact with her patron.
Can I roll an Arcana check just to kind of get a vibe? Can I vibe check this dagger?
Oh no.
Yeah, go ahead, roll Arcana for me.
Okay.
Please, Bartholomew, have mercy.
That is a 12.
A 12?
Yeah.
You can definitely tell that there's something else with this dagger that's going on, but you don't have specifics. It's, you would guess, native to Innistrad.
Okay. And the fact that she's stroking it is really weird too.
And as Bartholomew starts pointedly looking at your dagger, Suri, you're able to notice that you pulled that out and you're subtly, not so subtly, stroking it.
Suri, what's that?
A mean-looking knife.
Suri says, this belonged to my father. A lot of his research was done on this knife. It was very important to him.
Research. Your father was a scientist?
Somewhat. More of a he was a complicated man. I always considered him more of a hunter.
What did he hunt?
He hunted all kinds of monsters just to keep me and anyone he loved and our town safe.
What's all the weird writing on the side of the dagger?
He never figured that out, and I hope to continue his research and find out what all of it means.
And is this dagger involved with your magic?
From what I can tell, no.
Do we believe him?
I need you to roll a deception check for
Oh, please. Oh, nat 20.
Oh!
Oh my goodness.
It seems like that, now that you compose yourself a little bit more, you're able to lie a little bit better. Considering that
Oh.
we're suspicious of this dagger, oh, it's not part of my magic. Yeah, you're okay.
From what I can tell, most of my magic comes from spells written down in my father's book.
Is it alright if I look at that book? I'm very curious about it. You can say no. I don't want to pry. I know it was your father's book. I'm just curious if you're willing to share it.
Yes, he wrote very personal things in here. I just am not very comfortable sharing it with anyone else at the moment.
No worries. I completely understand. We all need our secrets.
And now I'm thinking, holy crap, I need to write down all of the contents of this book.
Uh-oh.
Well, I believe we're getting sidetracked. Yes, we should rest. We can discuss things further in the morning, figure out what we want to do, where we want to go. Hopefully, no wolves get in tonight. Are our rooms next to each other, or?
Yes, the rooms are right next to each other. They share a wall. They don't have like a little like door between them, but.
And how many beds do these rooms have?
It's one larger bed.
As I'm assuming Suri leaves to go to her room, Bartholomew's gonna walk her to the door and say, if anything happens, just knock on the wall, yell, anything, we'll come help.
I'll be sure to do exactly that. Thank you.
And we'll probably do the same, to be honest. Or at least I will. Bafuur will probably be busy killing whatever it is that's making me scream.
I don't know. I'll be asleep.
Are you on the bed?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's probably almost asleep already.
Bafuur's tired.
Tired and the absolute ease of a clear conscience.
I've done nothing wrong.
Yep.
Anything that you guys want to go over during the long rest?
No, I think for Bartholomew, he's gonna get out his bedroll and lay it out on the floor. Is there a window in the room?
There is, but you're on the second floor of the building, so
okay.
It's relatively private.
He's gonna set up his bedroll in the corner away from the window, and he's gonna lie there for a long time and have a hard time falling asleep, just thinking about how scary it was that Suri was gone, and thinking about the things that she's told him, the things that he's learned about her and about Bafuur. And right before he falls asleep, his mind drifts to memories of his daughter and his son and his family back home before he falls asleep.
And do you pull out your little locket with them in it?
Yeah, I think he'll pull it out and open it.
Okay. So you pull out the locket that you mentioned previously, I believe, when we were in the Stressed Swindler. And half sitting, half lying down, you can hear the snoring of Bafuur as he is just he is out. And thinking about his homeland and thinking about this device that came from there, you end up just pressing a little button. It pops open, and popping up from the middle comes an image of a nice family with Bartholomew, his wife, children, right next to the tree that was the last thing to burn when he left.
And he'll just stare at that picture for a while. And then as he falls asleep, he drops the locket and it'll close itself up. Still out of his shirt, hanging out.
Bafuur, you sleep like the dead. And even as the wolves come howling, Bartholomew waking up, unless you're needed, you're out for the count.
Yep.
And Bartholomew, you wake up. Suri, you wake up when the wolves come. And there's an initial set of panic, what's going on? But slowly the panic subsides. You're able to get back to sleep. Suri, though, after the wolves come, there's something different for you. The night is not nearly as restive. And even as you dream, your mind flashes back to when your patron took over. The fear, the helplessness, and that sense of that lack of control. And your brain also flashes back to almost stumbling through the blind eternities and nearly being ripped out of it by your patron to a plane completely different than Innistrad, and wondering what you really have signed up for and who exactly this entity is and what they want. Sleep is furtive at best. So the next morning comes around. Everyone gets a long rest. And speaking of, I think this is a really good point to point out that our team has advanced to level 5.
Woohoo!
So we advanced to level 4 after we completed, massive air quotes, after planes walked away from Ravnica after the Krenko release.
Mm-hmm.
And after all of these misadventures with the B team and the Suri sideshow, with the team fully reunited, we're going to advance to level 5. So, if you guys want to tell me what your results were for your HP increases, that would be fantastic.
So I got a 6 on my die, plus 3, which puts me up to 40 HP.
Alpha rolled a 9, plus 1, going up to 48.
Suri got an 8, plus 2 Constitution, so that puts her at 43.
Dang!
Nice.
Thick.
All over 40.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
Not
you're
so
all still
squishy.
subject to power word kill.
Just you try and one-shot me now, Jens.
Power word kill.
That's true.
Even a high roll fireball, honestly.
I do want to throw out that now that Bafuur is a level 4 fighter, I do have Great Weapon Master, which gives me that ability to take -5 to my attack roll, and if I still hit, it adds +10 to my damage roll. And having, let's see, that plus my, what was the other one? My Great Weapon Fighting, which means that I can reroll the damage on 1 or 2 damage die for melee weapons wielded with 2 hands, plus my critical from my improved critical, going from a 19, I can crit on a 19 or 20. Bafuur is capable of one-shotting some people now.
Hey, this is good stuff. This is
It's
why we
gonna be
like
good.
fighting.
Let's go kill Streffen Mauer.
gonna be good.
I don't
Yeah,
think you're
not
quite
not
ready
quite
for
there
that.
yet. No, let's not do that yet. But
Finishing up with the long rest, waking up in the morning, it's relatively quiet at this point in Shadow Grange. Coming downstairs, you find that the innkeeper seems like he slept underneath the bar, and as you come downstairs, he is awake, but you can tell that he's a little bit ruffled, and he says, "Oh, the wolves, they were more active last night, no?"
Yeah, I heard him. It woke me up. I was a little worried there for a minute, but you were able to keep him out.
there was wolves.
Yeah, there were wolves last night, Bafuur.
Balfour's just like stretching hardcore, just getting the whole neck, the back, turning everything. Just he slept great. He slept really, really good.
Suri, on the other hand, while she looks rested, it looks like it was not the best night for her.
Bartholomew too. Like he got the rest he needed, but he's a little stiff from sleeping on the floor.
Was there not 2 beds?
There was 2 beds. It was, well,
No, you said
It was
there was
one-
one. There was one.
it was
large
only
bed.
one. It was a larger bed, a little bit bigger than a king.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. But oh well.
No,
Yeah, Bafuur probably just went right to the middle and just laid out.
Yeah.
Over breakfast, you guys have an opportunity to continue your conversation from the other night.
So, did anybody's sleep give them ideas for what we should be doing? Any new, fresh perspectives?
Find justice for whoever killed Nasius.
Yes, that does seem like a good idea.
I agree.
I'm not entirely sure how to go about doing that.
As much as I don't care what they think about me, I don't like being accused of murder that I didn't commit.
And I've got a pretty good life built up for me on Ravnica. I'd rather not throw that away. I guess the only real option... I'm not sure if we should trust this informant, first of all, and I'm even less sure if we should trust this Vincenzo, but I don't really see any other options. We could try and go to the stress swindler and pick, what was that one lady's name?
Cynthia?
Yeah, we could pick her ear about things, see what she's heard.
Not 100% sure she's going to let me back in after last time.
Yes, she does have some bad blood towards Bafuur.
I mean, but she doesn't understand. He's a goblin. She doesn't get it from my point of view.
I think the problem is she understands all too well, Bafuur.
I think you should also probably consider her point of view. Like, she had cops in her establishment, and you were torturing someone in the back room. That doesn't look good for her.
Yeah. All right.
There are many perspectives in every story that must be considered.
And in Bafuur's mind, it's probably just thinking, and mine is the right one.
Yep.
I am the protagonist of this story. I am all that matters.
Do we have food? Or
Yes, there is
Okay.
food
We ordered some
prepared.
breakfast.
is there bacon?
Actually, no.
Unfortunate.
Balfour is upset that there is no bacon.
Is there at least meat of some kind?
There are eggs. It seems to be porridge, a little bit of toast, and some eggs.
Suri,
So,
does your plane not have bacon?
And this is when you think back to your dad at one point. There was a big ol', like, almost, it was a monster boar. You had bacon for too many days in a row, and it was really tough bacon.
It's not bacon that you would appreciate, I'm sure.
Well, that convinces me. Worst plane I've ever been to.
You're honestly not too far from the truth.
Yeah, I won't disagree with you on that one. This isn't my favorite place to be. No offense, Suri.
There's far too many monsters and dangerous entities here.
Monsters are one thing. No bacon is an entirely different subject here.
Is there anyone else in the tavern with us?
Not as yet. Your guess is that the other 3 patrons that came in the other night, they'll probably end up being back, but they're not in at the moment.
So should we try to go back and see Cynthia and see if she has any ideas, and if not, make our way to talk to Vincenzo. Is that the plan?
I think that sounds like the best plan that we've got at the moment. Other than just staying here and never returning to Ravnica ever again. Which I'm not too keen on that one.
Yeah, considering that this is proclaimed to be the worst plane that y'all have ever been to, it's up to you
There's got to be
entirely.
something very big and important that needs to happen to keep us here. Like, I don't know, a child being tortured in the church's basement. Who knows? I don't know.
That's true. Do you guys want to kill some priests before we leave?
Whoa!
That turns the head of the barkeep.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Totally up for that.
I glance at the barkeep and I just like gesture back. I'm like, this guy.
It was a joke.
Jokester. Oh, okay.
You know, if a priest comes up to us, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I mean, that's a valid point. So far, Bafuur has had 0 positive experiences with priests of Ravnica, or not priests of Ravnica, priests of Avacyn.
I've been attacked by one, and I'm thoroughly convinced the other one is abusing children. So that's where I'm at.
I promise, Bafuur, they're not all bad. I'm
That's-
actually pretty good friends with one that I met back in Gavany.
But the bad ones we can kill, right?
We might need evidence. That
Beat into submission.
You point, I punch.
It's
I
good
can
to
accept
have
that.
Suri back to be the middle ground between these two.
Just don't accidentally do what I did to Krinko that one time.
True. Good point. If I'm going to
Funny.
kill someone, I'm going to kill them on purpose.
Accidental death is not generally a good thing. Not to say that purposeful death is any better, but
Fireside Dice does not condone the purposeful killing of people. We do condone sending a message.
no, kids, do not go send messages through violence. Violence is not the answer.
Unless there's no bacon. And then violence is always the answer.
So yeah, let's come to a consensus. Are you guys going to be going? Are you going to be staying here? Or are you going to go somewhere else entirely?
The longer, like we pointed out last night, the longer we're away from Ravnica, the more guilty we seem. I am just as perturbed as you are, Bafuur, about what we heard in the church last night, but I don't know. Jens, the scream that we heard, when we heard it, was it very clearly a child or was it an adult? Could we tell?
It sounded more adult than adolescent.
Still, not great.
Yeah. Suri, you have more experience with this place. Is it typically a good sign or a bad sign if they're screaming in the Church of Avacyn? Is that something, is that like a process that needs to be done for people here that's just painful, or should we be really concerned?
That sounds absolutely terrible.
Just making sure. This place seems pretty terrible in its own right, so I don't know if that's normal or not.
Why would there be screaming in the Church of
I
Avacyn?
don't know. Why are there wolves ransacking the town at night?
Well, that's kind of typical of here, but
See, that's the point I'm trying to make. This place is weird. Like, I don't know what's normal anymore, okay?
Welcome to Innistrad, where scary is the new normal and slaughter is the best medicine.
I'm going to leave it up to you two. What do you think we should do here?
I mean, they were very adamant about us not locating the source of those screams.
Which means we're going to have to be very careful about how we approach any sort of incursions into that place.
which church is this? Is it in town?
Yeah, it's just up the road, just across town, up on the hill. It's where we took the priest that we ran into when we got here to get help.
That's very concerning. I heard rumors in another town that angels were ploying against humans or something along those lines.
Yeah, they mentioned something about that to us too. That's not normal, right? I'm pretty sure the priest I talked to in Gavany was telling me that the angels are the good guys.
As long as I've known, angels and humans have always worked together for good, especially here.
And you actually do have those books of scripture if you want to pull those out.
I will take a quick gander at them.
Yeah, just glancing through, the angels have always been helpful to humans.
So that starts to beg the question, like, who's at fault here? Have the humans done something here to anger the angels, or have the angels turned on the humans? Like, who... Is there such thing as a good guy in this place? I'm starting to wonder. I mean, obviously, I'm the good guy. So there's that.
I mean, we could always just go back to the church and check in.
If they
At the
deny
very
us
least.
again, some of you might try to sneak in.
They haven't met you, Suri. You could go in.
I don't think they... I look too similar to the Bitter Hearts. I don't think they would take to me as kindly.
Okay. I guess we could try and sneak in. I have the ability to make you guys a bit more sneaky.
I also have the ability to turn two of you invisible at the same time.
That is valid. I think it sounds like we want to go and try and figure out what's going on in this church.
This church is very concerning to me.
And if things go wrong, then we can just planes walk away and go back to the Stress Swindler. All right, I guess let's start heading up to that church. See if we can figure out what's going on there. Let's do some good today.
So, resolving to do some good, we will pick up there next time.
Woo!
Let's go!
Thank you all for joining us in this episode of Fireside Dice. This podcast is produced by Realms of Roleplaying, and all music used in this program was produced by Alexander Nakarada of Serpent Sound Studios. We'll see you all in the next episode.